Hey guys, Rusty over here, and I'm going to be showing you every single mount that comes from a dungeon in World of Warcraft. Now, most of these mounts are so easy to solo farm that a can of soup could probably do it. Some ones in the BFA and Shadowlands, obviously later on, you might need a group or another friend to help you out, but we'll worry about those later. If this guide helps you out, feel free, hey, throw it a like. It makes me happy. If you like the content, sub to the channel, and with all that out of the way, let's get right into the guide, starting off with Classic WoW. Now, Classic only has one dungeon that drops a mount, and that mount is going to be Baron Rivendare's Death Charger, which, now this might surprise you, drops from Baron Rivendare in Stratholme. So, head over to the Eastern Plaguelands, and don't go through the main entrance. You're going to keep going further east. I'll, of course, show you on the map, and this will bring you to the side entrance for Stratholme. There'll be either a little pet guy. Open the gate, go into the dungeon. Now, if you've somehow never done Stratholme before, the way this dungeon works is that the first 3 initial bosses, after you kill them, make sure you actually go into the Ziggurat buildings and you kill the cultist inside there, and that'll destroy the Ziggurat. And after you destroy all 3, that'll open up the final area. Keep clearing the dungeon until you get to the end. Kill Rivendare, and he has a chance to drop the mount. Now, since this is a classic dungeon, you can farm this as much as you want, except with the exception of the instance cap, which is 10 dungeons or instances per hour. So once you kill Rivendare, you can run out, reset, run it again, and farm him pretty much until you hit either instance cap or until you get the mount. Let's move on to Burning Crusade, since that's the only one for Classic. Now, Burning Crusade has 2 mounts that drops from dungeons. The first one is going to be the Reigns of the Raven Lord. Now, this mount comes from Sethic Halls, Heroic Sethic Halls, which is located in Terakar Forest in Outland, near the set of 4 dungeons. This is going to be the easternmost dungeon. Again, make sure you do have it set to Heroic difficulty, as the boss that drops this mount is Anzu, and it only spawns on Heroic mode. So go ahead, clear the dungeon until you eventually get to Anzu, the second boss. Kill him, and he has a chance to drop the Reigns of the Raven Lord. And again, since this is heroic, this is on a daily lockout per character. So you can farm this once per day per character. Now, the second mount that comes from Burning Crusade is going to be the Swift White Cock, which is basically just a white version of the Blood Elf Hawkstrider mounts. Now, do make sure you get this mount before you ever enter an Asmongold mount-off competition.
Get on it. Rusty Cobra, are you fucking kidding me? How, dude, I've had this since Wrath.
Wasn't my best moment, guys, alright? Anyways, this mount comes from Heroic Magister's Terrace and drops from the last boss, Kael'thas Sunstrider. Now, if you're not sure how to get to the Isle Caldanus, where the dungeon is, head over to Shatrath, and there's going to be a portal there that'll lead you to the island. And once you're there, head over to basically up a little hill. I'll show you on the map, of course, where it is. Set the dungeon to Heroic difficulty. It does have to be on Heroic. Go in there until you eventually get to the last boss, Kael'thas Sunstrider. By the way, a neat little trick if you didn't know. If you don't kill the pack before Kael'thas, you can skip his introduction RP, so you don't have to wait that long. And then you could kill him. You do have to wait for his end RP, and he has a chance to drop the mount. Again, this is heroic, so you can only do this once a day per character. So, hope you have alts to farm this on. I sure did after I lost that mount off competition. Got the mount now, though. And that'll do it for Burning Crusade. Next, let's move on to Wrath of the Lich King. And the first mount we're going to look at is going to be the blue Proto-Drake. I love Proto-Drake mounts. I think they are so cool in the game. I wish Blizzard would make more updated versions like the Gladiator mounts. Anyways, this mount comes from Utgard Pinnacle and drops from Skadi the Ruthless. Make sure the dungeon difficulty is, of course, set to Heroic. Go in there, he's the second boss. Now, if you're not sure how Skadi works, go all the way to the end and keep killing harpooners until you have 3 harpoons. And once the boss is in range, you can fire the harpoons at him, and after 3, he'll come down, slap him with a floppy wiener or something, kill him, and he has a chance to drop the blue Proto-Drake. And once again, since it's heroic, you can farm this once per day per character. Now let's move on to the next mount, which is going to be the Bronze Drake from the Culling of Stratholme. Now, this mount, if you don't have it already, is a 100% drop chance. So head over to the Caverns of Time, and basically, again, head over to the Culling of Stratholme, show you the location on the map. Again, make sure the dungeon difficulty is set to Heroic mode. You're going to go all the way, you're going to clear the dungeon all the way until you eventually get to the end, and right before you go straight into that gate to go fight Mal'Ganis, you're going to keep going left, and there's going to be an infinite dragon. Basically, he's doing some naughty things to the other bronze dragon. Kill the infinite dragon, and you will get the Bronze Drake 100% drop chance. I should probably note you are time doing this, but it's something I think it's like 25 minutes. Guys, listen, if you can't do this in 25 minutes, you might just want to uninstall the game. Let's move on to Cataclysm. Now, Cataclysm is going to have 5 mounts that you can get from dungeons. The first one is going to be the Drake of the North Wind, the mount that took me the longest to get. I'm pretty sure it was well over 500 attempts on this one. Now this comes from the Vortex Pinnacle and drops from the second boss, Altarius. I think that's how you say that. Anyways, it's the dragon boss. Now this mount you can actually, or this dungeon you could actually do on normal mode in order to farm this mount, meaning you can run this 10 times per hour. So the instance cap, right? You don't have to worry about only running it once per day like you do on Heroic. Just set it to normal, kill the second boss, and a neat little trick that you could do is you could actually just jump off the edge, and that'll port you right back to the entrance of the dungeon. I'll even show you so I'm not yanking your chain, right? You walk out, you reset the dungeon, you run back in, you farm it. Also, make sure you kill the trash volatile air. It does sell pretty well on the auction house. Now, let's move on to the next mount, which is going to be the Vitreous Stone Drake, which is basically, again, one of those stone drakes that I think are really cool looking. Now, this mount comes from the Stone Core and is dropped by the boss, Slabhide, again, another dragon boss. Now, the Stone Core is located in Deepholm. If you're not sure to get there, head over to either Orgrimmar or Stormwind, and you're going to go over to the Cataclysm portals, and there will be a portal leading you into Deepholm, assuming you've done the intro questline, which usually starts by the Cataclysm portals, right? Once you're there, you're going to fly all the way up to the Temple Earth, and the Stone Core is located right there. We'll, of course, show you on the map. And once again, this can be done on normal mode. So set the dungeon to normal, you go in there, you kill Slabhide. There's going to be a teleporter that you could actually use to run back, that will teleport you back to the beginning of the dungeon. Run out, reset, run in, and you keep farming Slabhide 10 dungeons per hour, right? The instance cap, or until you eventually get the mount. Now let's move on to the next dungeon, and it's going to be Zol Garub. Now this dungeon drops 2 mounts, the Armored Razashi Raptor and also the Swift Zulian Panther. So you have 2 mounts to farm from this place. Now, head over to Northern Stranglethorn Vale, where Zol Garub is, and make sure you set the dungeon to Heroic difficulty. So since it's Heroic, you can only farm this once per day per character. Now, the Armored Razashi Raptor is going to come from Blood Lord Mandakir. I will, of course, in the video, show you his location in the dungeon on the map. Kill him, and he has a chance to drop the Armored Razashi Raptor. Now, the Swift Zulian Panther comes from High Priestess, I forgot her name, but point being, she comes from the Troll Lady, which I will, of course, again, show you her location on the map. She's going to be in a temple, go all the way down to the bottom of that temple, and you'll have the Panther Lady there, the High Priestess, whatever her name was, kill her, and she has a chance to drop the Swift, or the Swift Zulian Panther. Moving on to the final Cataclysm mount, and that is going to be the Amani Battle Bear, which is a 100% drop chance in Zol Aman after you do a special little, I guess, event or whatever you want to call it. Now, first things first, head over to Zol Aman, which is in the Ghostlands south of Silvermoon, and you're going to set the dungeon to Heroic difficulty, of course. Run in, and you're going to talk to Vol'jin and start banging on the drum with him. You know, he's going to walk up to it, you click it once, and that'll start the event. Now, make sure you do actually kill the trash that runs in, as they will automatically put you in combat, and you do want to be able to mount up. Now, first things first, I will show you the location. You have to kill bosses in certain orders, right? I will, of course, show you the location on the map where to go. Now, the first one is you're going to head all the way to the northwest, and you're going to kill the Eagle boss first. I think it's like a Kilazan or something his name is. Again, show you the location on the map. Kill him first. I should also note, don't worry about freeing the people in the cages yet. We'll save that later. After you kill him, you're going to head over to the southwest, or just the south, and you're going to kill the bear boss next. I should note, the trash he does send at you, make sure you do kill that in order to make him attackable. You're going to kill him. Then you're going to head further east, and you're going to have basically the Dragonhawk troll boss. I believe that's what it is. You're going to kill him third. Again, show you the location on the map and where to find him. And then you're going to move to the 4th boss, which is the Lynx boss, and the final boss you want to kill last. Now, once you kill the Lynx boss last, and again, assuming you've done this in the time limit, you're going to go ahead and talk to the Troll Lady, start some RP. She's going to start breaking some vases and crap. You could loot the gold if you want, right? You might as well. It's free gold. Until eventually she breaks the final vase in a bag, assuming you killed the bosses in the correct order and in time. We'll talk about that in a second. You will have a 100% drop chance for the Amani Battle Bear. Now, the time limit on this is very similar to the culling of Stratholme, to the point where if you don't make the time limit on this, something like 18 or 20 plus minutes, you should probably uninstall the game, assuming you went in the correct order and you know the correct order, right? Guys, listen, it's point being, you one-shot these bosses, so don't even worry about the time limit. Again, top left first, then you move down south, kill the bear boss, then you move further east, kill the Dragonhawk boss, then you go back north to kill the Lynx boss for a 100% drop chance for the Amani Battle Bear. And that'll do it for all Cataclysm dungeons. Now we are going to be skipping Mop and Wad because their dungeons, none of their dungeons drops mounts. We're going to go right into Legion, and then Legion only has one dungeon that drops 2 mounts though, and that is going to be Return to Karazhan. This is my personal favorite dungeon of all time. I really do think this is probably the best dungeon that Blizzard has ever made, maybe BRD being a close second. So there's 2 mounts that drop from here. That's first one is going to be the Smoldering Emberworm, which comes from Nightbane. Now, in order to unlock that, there's a series of events and crystals you have to click. I will of course show you. The second mount being Midnight, again one of my personal favorite mounts in the whole game, which drops from Attunement the Huntsman in Return to Karazhan on Mythic mode. So head over to Deadwind Pass in the Eastern Kingdoms, which is near Stranglethorn Vale, and then you're gonna make sure dungeon difficulty is set to Mythic. Now don't go through the main entrance. You're gonna fly up and over to the right and take the side entrance into Karazhan. We'll of course show you where that's located, and make sure that is set to Mythic. Now we're gonna start off with the Smoldering Emberworm, and we'll get into Midnight as we go further into the dungeon. Now, in order to unlock the Smoldering Emberworm, you have to click certain crystals in a certain amount of time. I wouldn't worry too much about the time part, though. But as soon as you open those wooden doors at the entrance, your timer will start, so make sure you're going from there. From there, you're going to make a right and just keep following the dungeon until you eventually get to the Opera event. Once you're there, just kill the bosses there, and you keep going around until you get to where all the pedestrians are, basically the watchers are, right? The spectators, that's the word I was looking for, pedestrians. Basically, you're going to kill all those, and you're going to see your first pink crystal. Now, there's 5 of these crystals you have to click. The first one is here. Just click it once, and you're going to start channeling. Don't move. Make sure you're not going to be in combat with anything, as if it's interrupted, the crystal will despawn, and you're going to have to restart. Once you click the first crystal, keep going straight past the ushers, and you're going to make a left into the hallway that would go towards the maiden. And right before you get to the maiden, you're going to make a left into the room with all the people. Let's call them that. That's the proper word. The people. Clear out the room. Make sure you're not going to get put in combat when you're going to click the crystal. Click the second crystal, and by the way, every time you click a crystal, you'll gain a stack of a buff. You'll see up there. If that buff ever expires, you have to restart and go again. Now, after you go to get the second crystal, you're going to backtrack, heading back towards the Opera event. Again, I'll show you all this in the video. I'll probably speed it up for you guys. And then you're going to jump over the ledge here down to Morose. Go ahead, kill off Morose and any trash around him. Now, 2 things are going to spawn here when you kill him. First is going to be Morose's keys. Make sure you do pick those keys up. You don't want to go all the way to Curator, see the door is locked, and then cry like I did in Legion. And then the third crystal will spawn behind him. Once again, make sure you're not going to be in combat. Click the crystal, wait till the channel is finished. Now from there, you're going to follow where I go. Instead of going straight, you're going to go make a right to where all the chef people are. Make a left, jump down a hole, and this is going to bring you to Attunement the Huntsman. And this boss has a chance to drop Midnight. So while you're doing this, if you have plenty of time, you could also come back if you want, right? But while you're doing this, you might as well kill Attunement while you're there, and he has a chance to drop the mount Midnight, which is a really cool red horse in my opinion. So from there, you're going to backtrack a little bit, and you're going to go into the spider area. Keep killing the spiders. If you walk over the webs, the spiders will spawn. Not a big deal. You just keep killing them. You're going to go straight in, and then you're going to make a right, and there's going to be a little portal, and you'll see the 4th crystal, which is surrounded by a bunch of spider webs. Go ahead, kill any spiders that spawn when you walk through the webs. Click the 4th crystal. You should have 4 stacks of the buff at this point, and then you could click that portal there, and that'll bring you back to the entrance of the dungeon. Now, from there, instead of going right, you're going to make a left, and you're going to go up the ramp, going up towards the Curator. It's a pretty straightforward path. Once you go up the ramp, just keep following it till you eventually get to the Curator. Now, kill the Curator, and the 5th and final crystal will spawn. Click it, channel it, same thing. You'll gain 5 stacks, and once you have your 5 stacks, you will gain a new buff. I forgot what it's called. I think it's like Echo and Medivh or something like that. Point being, you'll gain a new 5-minute buff, or 8-minute buff, however long it was, right? And then from there, you're going to backtrack again, go back to the dungeon. Now, under the ramp that was leading up to the Curator, there's going to be another little door leading outside to the Master's Terrace, and from there, if you did all this correctly and you have the correct buff, you should see the Echo or image of Medivh. Go ahead, talk to him, and you're going to start some RP. Wait for the RP to finish, Nightbane will spawn. Then you're going to kill Nightbane, and he has a chance to drop the mount. Now, the way Nightbane works, or the way the Smoldering Emberworm works in terms of drops, is that has a 20% drop chance to drop per player in the group. So, for example, if you have 5 people in the group, full group, so 100% drop chance. If you're soloing this, chances are you probably are. If you're soloing this, it is a 20% drop chance, right at 20% for each player in the group. Now, guys, I probably went a little bit quick in this video just to kind of give you an idea of what the path you have to take and where the crystals are. I will leave a separate guide linked in the description down below where I show you the full route and basically in a separate guide that I made a while back. It's a little outdated. Well, not outdated, but it's a little old, but it's still good information and it's still a proper guide. So I'll leave that link down below if you guys want more information on how to summon Nightbane. And that'll do it for Legion. Next, we're going to head over to Battle for Azeroth, which has 4 dungeons for a total of 5 mounts as Mechagon drops 2. Now, most of the BFA dungeons are easy to solo with the exception of King's Rest, which is still right now with current gear. Very, very difficult to solo. More on that later on. But first, we're going to start off with Freehold, which drops Sharkbait's favorite crackers for Sharkbait. Still don't have the mount. Have fun in the comments with that. Anyways, you're going to head over to Tiragard Sound, where I am on the map, and that is going to be the location. You got to make sure it is set to Mythic difficulty. You're going to go into the dungeon, and guys, basically, you can just head right to the last boss, Harlan Sweet. You do not need to kill the first 3 bosses. It's not necessary. Obviously, you'll probably have to pull some trash along the way. Not a big deal. Just kill it. Head over to Harlan Sweet. Lop his head off. He's got a weird face when he dies, but you know, anyways, and he has a chance to drop the mount, which I don't have. The next dungeon that drops a mount is going to be the Underrot, and this is going to be for the Underrot Krog, which drops off the Unbound Abomination on Mythic difficulty. So head over to Nazmir, where I am on the map, and the actual dungeon on the map is a little bit of a debate. It's actually underground. So go to where I am, and then basically just fly all the way down, a little bit underground, and you'll see the entrance to the dungeon. I'll, of course, show you in the video. Make sure to set to Mythic difficulty once again, and once again, just like Freehold, you can completely skip the first 3 bosses. You don't even, it looks like it's linear, right? But guys, you can completely skip them, just walk right past them, and go ahead and just kill the last boss. Again, you'll probably have to kill some trash along the way. If you're not sure how the Unbound Abomination works, basically you're going to keep doing damage to it. When its bar fills up to full, it'll shoot out the blood edge. You can kill those off, and then the boss will eventually die. And it again has a chance to drop the Underrot Krog mount. The next dungeon I'm going to cover is going to be Operation Mechagon, and this drops 2 mounts. Now, Operation Mechagon is located on, well, Mechagon, Rustbolt, right? So head over to where I am on the map, and then the dungeon has to be set to Mythic difficulty. Now, the 2 mounts to come from here, the first one is going to be the Mechagon Peacekeeper, and this drops from the Aerial Oppression unit, or the 4th boss in the dungeon. And the second mount is going to be the Aerial unit R21X, which drops off King Mechagon, the final boss in the dungeon. So again, guys, kind of like Freehold and Underrot, this one isn't too bad to solo. It's slightly harder. The mobs hit a little bit harder, but for the most part, they just have more health, so it'll just take a little bit longer to clear. So you're going to go in there, kill the 4th boss, has a chance to drop the Mechagon Peacekeeper, and the final boss, King Mechagon, has a chance to drop the Aerial unit R21X. For that mount, though, if you actually do it on hard mode, it is a 100% drop chance, but right now, hard mode is not soloable. But if you have a group of friends you want to do it with, hey, go for it. Otherwise, it is just a small drop chance from the last boss. So with that being said, let's move on to the final dungeon that drops a mount, and that's going to be King's Rest, which drops the Tombstalker from King Dazar, once again on Mythic difficulty. You're going to head over to the outdoor area of Tal Dazar, make sure the dungeon is set to Mythic difficulty, and you're going to run on in. Now, everything about this dungeon is super easy, just like the others, until you get to the second boss and he whips his freaking wiener out and slaps you around with it. Now, basically, guys, the reason why, the thing that makes this boss so difficult is that it's a huge DPS check. Essentially, you need to kill this boss before he casts the ability Entomb, otherwise he will entomb you and he'll just despawn. Hence the DPS check, so you need to kill him before he casts that. I think you have about, 30 to 40 seconds to kill him. Sometimes it varies a little bit. Honestly, I recommend not even worrying about any of the other mechanics. Just burn the boss. I think I did this around 221 item level. Basically, guys, point being, I am really well geared. I'm a really well geared Demon Hunter, which is one of the burstiest specs in the game right now. That's a lie. Anyways, point being, I'm still a geared Demon Hunter, and still just barely made the DPS check. This boss will be much easier as time goes on in the Shadowlands expansion, but right now at the time making this guide, he's very difficult to kill. But if you kill him, keep clearing the rest of the dungeon until you eventually get the King Dazar. You could kill him off, and then you have a chance to get the Tombstalker mount, which is is probably my favorite Raptor mount in the game. I mean, look at that thing. Beautiful. Amazing. Anyways, guys, that'll do it for BFA. So with BFA done, we might as well include Shadowlands, and currently at the time of making this video, the only mount is going to be Marrowfang, which comes from the Necrotic Wake, the last boss, now Thor the Rhymebender. Now the dungeon is located in Bastion, and it does have to be on Mythic difficulty. It can also drop in a Mythic Keystone dungeon, a Mythic Plus dungeon. Chances are guys are going to need a group to do this, right? Like maybe Avengers Demon Hunter could solo this, like a really geared one, but I doubt it. Realistically, guys, you're going to need a group to do this right now, right? But we might as well include it, right? Because it's still a mount that comes from a dungeon currently. There are no other mounts that come from dungeons at BFA, although I'll be surprised if the new Mega Dungeon coming in 9.1 doesn't drop any mounts. And that's it, guys. That is every single dungeon mount that is currently in World of Warcraft. Hopefully, we'll get some new ones in 9.1 with the Mega Dungeon. But right now, I do hope you guys enjoyed the guide. Hope that helped you out. Maybe you heard of some guides that, or some mounts that you've never heard of before, and you can go and farm them right now. If that video helped you out, hey, throw it a like, sub to the channel if you're not already. And remember, guys, Halo 3, the best. Until next time, guys. Bye-bye.